Good evening, everyone. Okay, today's topic, legal immigration versus illegal aliens. Interesting, huh? Well, we have a lot to discuss given the recent activities that have been going on in the United States in reference to immigration. It is a pleasure for me to introduce you, Elise Marciano. She is the president for the U.S. Citizens for Immigration Law Enforcement. Welcome.
Thank you, Ivan.
And joining us is Mr. Mighty Heiser. What we're going to do is have what you call kind of quite cordial dialogue about, I guess, illegal aliens
versus
legal immigration.
Legal.
So it's live. The phone number is 792-4101, 792-4101. And let me warn you guys out there, we expect this conversation to be cordial. So if you do call and I don't like your language, I will hang up on you. That's just the way it is. Okay? Now, what I would like to do is to ask you what exactly U.S. Citizens for Immigration Law Enforcement, what do you stand for?
Well, it's very simple, Ivan. We are a group of people in the Danbury area, not just Danbury, but different towns around, and we are doing what we can to force our government to enforce the immigration laws. Specifically, Article 8, Section 1324 and 1325, which governs illegal aliens being in this country, housing them, providing jobs for them, and basically making it, aiding and abetting them to be here. So what we're doing is we're saying to our government in Washington, enforce our laws.
Article what again?
Pardon? Article 8.
8.
Section 1324 and 1325.
1324 and 13.
This is Ivan's reality show, folks.
Well, okay. So you want them to, Marty, please jump in whenever you feel like it, okay?
Okay.
You want them to reinforce the existing laws.
Yes.
Now, this country is supposed to be a country ruled by laws, right?
Exactly.
So, which means that everyone, no matter who you are, government officials, rich, poor, whoever you are, you need to follow the rules.
That's right.
Now, what we're seeing is that the system is broken.
No, it's the government refusing to enforce the laws.
The system is broken.
No, the government is broken. Not the system is fine. The system has no problems. It's very plain.
You don't think there's a systemic problem?
No, I think the government is the problem.
Well, then who actually make the laws and define the system?
The government makes the laws, but also you have a situation back when the Vidalia onion growers in Georgia didn't like it because the immigration people were coming in and finding illegal aliens, doing the work, and deporting them. So they called their congressmen, their senators, and they complained. And they went to the immigration officials and said, stop going after the Vidalia onions because Georgia depends on this system. Same thing happened in Nebraska. This is why it's the government that's broken, because these senators and representatives were pulling their weight and pushing the immigration people around because of that. They wanted their states to be free of people coming in and finding them breaking the law.
As of right now, there are, depending on what statistics you hear or listen to or give credence to, anywhere from 12 million to 25 million illegal immigrants working, living in America right now? Do those numbers sound correct to you?
25 to 30, yes.
30?
I don't believe that there's, they've been talking about 12 million for, gosh, at least 5 years.
Okay, well, let's use your numbers, 25 to 30.
Right.
So well, I guess what I'd like to look at is look at this sort of on a macro level. What would your solution be?
We do not have the infrastructure. We do not have the homes, the proper homes, the proper areas to house and take care of these people. We don't have it. They are living in little makeshift apartments, in illegal houses, 15, 20 to a one-family
Okay,
house.
but I understand. We've recognized that there's a problem. You said the system is broken. You're saying there's not enough housing and infrastructure.
She said the government is broken, not the system.
No, you said the system.
No, I said the
is broken.
system is broken. She
Yeah.
said the government is broken.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about solutions then. I mean, we talked a little bit in the waiting room. Don't let me put words in your mouth, but it seems to me that you're proposing the solution is, hey, everyone out, 30 million people out.
Okay, let's look at it this way. I go to your house and I say to you, Marty, I'm going to come in your house, I'm going to live here, and I don't care if you like it or not, and you have to feed me, and you have to provide these things for my children, you have to educate them and do all that, and there's nothing you can do about it, because I'm staying.
Yeah,
What would you
squatters
do?
and like that. I would, well, it
Not
would be
squatters. I just walked into your house.
squatters. That's a, you're saying a squatter is someone who
I
comes into
broke
someone's
into your
house.
house.
Okay.
I smashed your door.
I would
and
call the
broke
police
into
and
it.
have you evicted.
Okay.
But we're not. I don't think we're talking about that. We have a situation in this country, and I
Same
think.
thing, Marty.
Well, I would propose that it's not exactly the same thing as a home invasion. I think it's a much
This is
larger,
our
more
home.
complex one.
America is our home, and these people have invaded us.
Okay, well then your solution then is to forcibly evict 30 million people from this country. Is that correct?
They have no right to be here.
Okay, but I would just...
Go after the employers who are employing them. You go after the people who are keeping them here. By one way, either the churches or whoever, people, for some reason or other, are keeping them here. And you prosecute them because they are breaking our laws.
Yeah. Well, I would just submit to you that that's an untenable solution. If someone invades your home, you can call the police and have them evicted. And that's a
Supposing the
wonderful thing.
police said, gee, Marty, I'm sorry, but we're too busy. We can't bother with that now. What would you do?
I would, I'm a member I believe that you have the right to protect your property with firearms, so I would, might go that route. But again, I would, no, I wouldn't. I think, a man has a right to defend his property. But I don't in any way agree with your analogy of a home invasion to what we have in America as a complex, multi-generational, economic and societal problem that needs to be addressed. And we can agree that having illegal immigrants here is not a good situation and should be changed, but I would propose to you that summarily evicting 30 million people would have devastating consequences. As a matter of fact, on 60 Minutes, they had one program about a town one town in Pennsylvania where the mayor of the town said, maybe you saw it on TV, I don't know.
Hazleton?
Hazleton, yeah, where it said, hey, anyone who gives an apartment to someone who doesn't have the proper immigration status or has a job, they evict. And the town is really hurt quite bad, as you'll see, in follow-up to that. And I think that if...
But the people who were paying the taxes on that town are very happy about it.
See, you bring up taxes, and to my way of thinking, because I'm trying to think, how can we solve this problem? I think the sort of the roadmap or the president's policy, the 5 points towards citizenship, is a good program and one that should be looked into.
They broke our laws, Marty. How could we reward them with citizenship? That's crazy.
I'm not saying reward them with citizenship. In the plan that was proposed, that was voted down, they would have to pay fines. They would have to...
Oh, please.
Well, fine, then you can say, well, then let's just evict them, and they're not going to be evicted.
So we have a
here we
price.
sit.
Now we have a price on citizenship. Isn't that great? How much was it going to cost them? $2,000? Wow.
Yeah, well,
we
okay,
have
but
a
then,
call.
then
We have a call. Can we take the call?
Sure.
Okay. Caller, you're in the air. Thank you.
Hello. I'd like to pose this question to the lady present.
Okay, before you
I
do
don't
that,
know her
hello?
name.
Hello?
If I could say her name.
Yes, it's Elise, but before you do that, can I say something to you?
Sure.
Okay, now, we are having what you call a civilized conversation, all right?
Of course, I'm always civilized.
Okay, all right, I'm just want to let you know that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You could be a little bit more courteous yourself. Okay, wasn't John DeStefano illegal in allowing these illegal aliens into New Haven, Connecticut? And doesn't that constitute unlawful activity? And shouldn't he be diselected?
I believe John DeStefano is going to have
Is
to...
it DeStefano? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I don't know how to
He's
pronounce
going to
it.
have to answer for an awful lot because not only did he push that ID card through his legislature, but he also is involved with the bank that's financing this.
Yes. Now, doesn't that constitute collusion on his part? Because he really went under the citizens of New Haven who voted him in
My sources,
to act in his own behalf.
my sources told me that he did this just barely within the law. However, now he has issued a edict to the police that they can no longer help the ICE agents when they're looking for criminals or people who have deportation orders. So our group is going to start getting after the governor and Attorney General Blumenthal to do something about DeStefano.
I mentioned that on Tom Bennett's show last week, or the week before. I tried to the week before that, but I didn't get through because there was such a response.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what can New Haven do to diselect him?
New Haven has a group of citizens that we organized a couple months ago, and I suggest that there's also a talk show host that's also against all this. I don't know if you listen to any of New Haven radio, but they are trying...
Sometimes WPLR, but sometimes it's hard to get it. Reception-wise, it's hard for me to get it.
But I would say that I would go and see if you can't support this group and help them.
Okay, thank you, caller.
What? No, I have one more question.
One more question, because we got other calls, okay? All right, go ahead.
Okay, you could be... Okay, I just want to know, this is going to have reverberations for Danbury, Connecticut, because if 20,000 people were signing up, what about the other people who have illegal backgrounds on their, they have luggage, and they're going to come up here to Danbury, Connecticut. Now, what can Danbury, Connecticut do to protect itself against these people migrating up here?
Well,
Good. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor Boughton said that, if they run checks on the people that they pick up for traffic violations, driving without driver's license, and they run them through the ICE background checks, and if they're on the list, they get picked up.
Okay. Well, you talk about Mayor Boughton. First of all, let me ask you this. Is the mayor in any affiliation with your group?
No.
He's not? Okay.
Oh, gosh, no.
Okay. Has any member of the Common Council any affiliation with your group?
Pauline Basso comes to our meetings. I don't know if that's called an affiliation, but just like Lynn Tabersack is with the Stop the Raids group, Pauline Basso
You have also
comes to
gotten,
ours.
you have also, I wouldn't say support, but Len Waller also speaks somewhat positively about your group too sometimes.
Well, we are for law enforcement.
Right.
We're not against anything that's, you know, we're not racist, we're not whatever these people try to paint us as. We are not. We want our government to enforce our laws, just like if you go down the road and you're driving on the wrong side of the road, you're going to get what? A ticket.
Okay. All right, we got one more call.
Come ahead and get in the headline.
Caller, you're in the air.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Ivan. Jesus is the Lord. This is Gerard O'Callahan. Yeah, listen, I've been watching the show. Lisa's doing a great job, and she's 100% right. And I just heard the co-host mention about the same tired argument. What are we supposed to do with these people? And of course, the section of law that's been brought up to the mayor and has been brought up on the federal level as well is 1324, which punishes as a criminal offense contractors and those that encourage illegal aliens to reside in the United States. Now that means those that hire them, those that house them, and so forth, having knowing that they're illegal, which is most of the in Danbury, as you see in Kennedy Square and elsewhere. This is happening on a daily basis. So to the comment to Marty there, the host, is he's talking about how are we going to get rid of all the illegals. You have to punish the contractors. Now, this is the one thing that nobody does. If the contractors, if the restaurants and those that rent to them are punished according to law, in other words, if they enforce the law in this area, which they do not, with the ICE raids in Danbury and so forth, no contractors are being picked up unless it was an extreme case like in the Dunkin' Donuts case where you had a felony bringing in people across the border and so forth on a large scale.
Okay, good. Listen,
These people are still doing the same thing. So these are token raids. They pick up a few Guatemalans, send them back, and they let the contractors, all the garden places, landscape crews, painting crews, and so forth, restaurants, continue to hire them. If you start punishing them even in a marginal fashion, according to law, which is not being done, these people will stop hiring them. And
Okay,
you
listen.
don't have to prosecute illegals. You don't have to
All
put
right,
them in
listen.
jail.
Okay, listen.
Hey,
Breathe,
comment to that.
Breathe a little bit. Breathe a little bit. I have a
Talk
question
about
for you.
that.
I have a question for you. Breathe a little bit because you appeared on my show and also I've spoken to you and I know that you have a small business, right?
Correct.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you this question and also at least this question. Now, why do you think that Danbury is very attractive to the illegals coming here?
You asking me that?
Right.
Oh, Ivan, listen, the reason why that's just like the California gold rush. The only difference, because people coming from other countries are making, everyone says they work cheap. Well, the money they send back home, these people are becoming rich. They can buy a house in 1 year.
Right, but I
money,
know, but,
the value
see,
of
but
the
in
money,
Danbury, why do you think?
Here, they're going to go back and buy a house in 6 months.
But I know, but why Danbury and not Richfield?
It's all over the United States. Danbury is a working community.
It's a working community,
blue-collar town. You're not going to stand out in Richfield in the middle of the woods with all the windy roads. You're going to come to cities, and in all the cities throughout the country, this is happening. Danbury is just a microcosm of what's going on.
Okay.
But Ivan,
right.
I don't want to take up the show because
Okay.
Lisa's
right.
doing a great job.
All right, thank
I just want to, get back to you and Marty, the co-host, to please address that question. You say, how are we going to do this? And every time you ask a politician, every time you ask a lawyer this question, they duck the question. This is a law that is supposed to be enforced.
All right,
this
thank
is a
you.
law that they refuse to enforce.
All right, we heard you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, I don't disagree with the caller. I realize that this is a law that needs to be enforced.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think they come to Danbury?
Well, you had a fairly large population of legal Brazilians who came here. You had people who were in Danbury who got amnesty in 1986, who brought in their families and various, I guess.
But besides that, what do you think attracts them to Danbury?
Because the housing is available.
Okay, and then?
And
They can find work.
it's in close well,
because most of the work here,
it's not
like
in
construction
Danbury
work.
so much.
Yeah, but the
it's out of
construction-
town.
I know, but there's a lot of work in Danbury, right? Construction work in Danbury, is that correct?
I don't think there's all that much. They're picking them up and taking them down to Greenwich and Darien and New Canaan.
Okay, all right. Caller, you're in the air.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
How are you tonight? Look, I just have a simple comment. Legal or not, the reason why I think there's so much outrage is because now nobody really wants to come to America to be American. They just want to come here and work for a few years. They don't want to speak the language. And, if you're familiar with downtown Danbury, you can't really go anywhere without seeing a Brazilian flag flying, not necessarily the United States flag next to it. Nobody speaks English downtown. And, that's why there's so much outrage. If people came here and really just wanted to be American, like, my grandparents came here legally, Italian was spoken in the house, English was spoken outside the house. If you didn't do that, you were reprimanded and disciplined. And, now you can go to school and learn all the subjects in your native language. You don't even have to learn them in English. And that's why there's so much outrage. I'm going to hang up and just listen for a response. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me get a word in edgewise.
Yes.
Okay. I believe that our laws need to be enforced. That's a given. What has been proposed at the federal level and what was voted down this past spring was a comprehensive immigration reform to address this issue. It was a 5-part proposal. 1, increase border security. 2, have a temporary guest worker program. 3, interior enforcement, which was holding the employers accountable for hiring illegals. And one component that I really think is leaning more towards the future was a biometric ID card, either an eye scan or a thumbprint that had a hard, lock-solid way of identifying people. 4th was increased deportations, especially of illegal immigrants convicted of a felony. And then the 4th was an assimilation process. America is a country that was built on immigration. The caller just talked about the melting pot. Italian was spoken in the home, but English was spoken outside of the home. Every succeeding generation of immigrants that have come to this country have assimilated. What I would propose, and maybe it's not going to be a popular stand on tonight's show, but what I would propose is that this next wave of immigration, which is what we're seeing, the following generation, as is usually the case, will assimilate better than the initial immigration. Regarding the economy, I think that the economy is very dependent on a ready workforce. Before I came on the show, I went to the Connecticut manufacturers website. They're hurting for employees. They need to have, they're willing to train, they're willing to pay for workers' training. They need people to come in. These are high-paying manufacturing jobs in Connecticut that are going wanting. It's stifling the economic growth. I hate to say it, but we need the workers. I went on further to look at Europe. There was an article, Europe's missing workers. They're dying for workers over in Europe. There is a net, on a global scale, there is a need for workers.
Skilled, hard-working workers, not the lazy ones.
Let me just finish. Yeah. Well, I don't think anyone's saying, that these illegal immigrants or otherwise that are coming here are lie-abouts and being lazy. Generally speaking, I think everyone would agree that they're working hard. I know when I drive around, the guy's doing the stone walls, digging the ditches, doing construction, bussing my table at a restaurant or what have you. These are hard-working people.
And I have to be honest with you.
All right.
I couldn't do their work. Every couple of hours, I'll take a cigarette.
What I'm saying is,
smoke.
My
Elisa,
husband
Elisa, let me finish my point, okay? What I'm saying is, I appreciate your sentiment. Send them all home. They're illegal. Someone's broken into your house. What do? You cross the yellow line. You get a ticket. It's wrong. Okay, fine. We all agree on that. But I think what's trying to be proposed or trying to be worked out, and I'd like to see discussed on this show, is what are we going to do? What are we going to do about all this? And I would suggest to you that, simply, deporting 30 million people is just not practical.
That's
and my
30
final point,
million slaves that they're going to deport.
Well, okay, we can talk about slavery otherwise.
That's another point, too.
Okay,
These
let me
people
I
are
have
being
one last point.
exploited,
I have one last point. You're originally from Haiti, right?
Bahamas.
From the Bahamas.
Parents Haitian, right?
Okay, by the parents Haitian. My wife is originally from Canada.
Right.
My mother is originally from Germany. The caller before was talking about Italian families that have come here over the generations, the Irish, the Germans, the Swedes. I would say that we are a nation of immigrants, and that right now we have a new wave of immigrants, and I agree, it's a glut, it's a lot, but I'm saying that we have to come up with some comprehensive plan to assimilate these people, get them legal, get them paying taxes, get them with the proper medical insurance, because that's one of the biggest problems with paying for medical fees on this, and somehow work towards assimilation. Now, we can disagree how that's going to happen, but these people are here, they're a viable part of our economy, and I think if we can get the argument beyond just ship them all home, to some rational program, that's where I would see like the discussion be.
Don't answer that. Don't answer that, because we got 2 calls. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
All right. Caller in the air.
Ivan, how you doing? Mrs. Marciano, how are you?
Just
Good.
fine, thank you.
Marty, I totally disagree with you.
Listen,
Marty,
before you start,
yes.
I need to somehow talk to you personally because...
I'm in the phone yellow pages, buddy.
All right, okay.
Pull me up. I'll see you. You see me on my bike, pull me over. I'm always burning calories.
All right, good.
All right.
All right,
When was
thank
the last time you had a job where you worked up a sweat, Ivan? Come on now. When you lived in Miami. Me too. Marty.
Yes.
How many people legally granted citizenship in the United States every year? How many?
I hope you have that number, because I don't have that number on the top of my head.
Attorney Bernie disclosed it on the show. He said about 2 million. He said just about that.
Approximately 2 million a year are
There's
granted
no other
legal
country in
citizenship.
the world that gives a fraction of that to their citizens or immigrants. We do need the workers. Who did the work, Marty, before the illegal aliens decided to overstay their work visas? Who did the work before, back in the 1980s?
Well, I would say
McDonald's. Let's say, for instance, McDonald's.
well, a lot of times you'd have high school students, college students home for the summer.
And retirees.
They evaporated then. Also, senior citizens worked in McDonald's.
Yeah.
Okay, they're disallowed because they can't work more than 15 hours because of Social Security regulations, which is wrong.
I disagree with that,
Let
too.
these people come, stay for 3 years, and then go back. This way, the mechanic, the village, the city of Quito, Ecuador gets their mechanic back. In Sao Paulo, Brazil, they get their carpenters back, their roofers back. That's what happened before. They stayed for their work visas. After 24 months, 36 months, they went back. It was great for our airlines. They created more work by flying more people back to Central and South America. This is what has to happen.
You know that was part of the
All
program.
right, I have to let you go now, okay?
Hold on. You seem not to like what I say, Ivan.
Oh, no. We have
one other point.
We have a lot of people calling in.
I know one other point.
Okay, make it quick. Make it quick. Make it quick.
If they're disallowed, if the laws are focused for the employer, that's what I saw on their TV this week, that for Bush's people are finally working on strengthening the regulations. What do you think 30 million illegal aliens are going to do? Do you think they're going to hang around if they're unable to rent an apartment because it would be against the law? The landlord will be afraid to rent to them. If the employer is going to be afraid to give them a job, do you think they're going to hang around downtown Danbury, or do you think they're going to trickle back to Central and South America? Elise, would you answer that for me? Marty won't. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'm in the Yelp pages.
All right, I will. I'll call you. Trust me.
Can I just respond?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
They'll trickle back,
Okay.
definitely.
But can I tell you something?
Sure.
Let's talk about students and senior citizens. I am not against senior citizens, okay? But
Yeah, I'm glad about that, because I am one of those,
Okay.
Ivan.
There's a reason why companies are not hiring senior citizens,
Why?
okay? Because they cannot, it's the bottom line. They cannot produce at a rate that they want them to produce. So having senior citizens working like McDonald's when now we want our burgers, we want it now.
Senior
And,
citizens
you know,
worked
so-
at McDonald's when they were doing their slower time during the
right,
day.
I know,
They
exactly.
weren't busy.
And then students, you don't trust students to work for you. They only can give you a good couple of hours, and the rest of the day they're fooling around. So these people want.
Then you don't know how to run a business.
Well, I'm
If that's
just
what you're
saying.
doing,
I'm just saying.
you
I'm
don't
just
know
saying.
how to keep your employees
But Elise,
motivated.
you had, we talked a little bit before, but you had a business.
Yes.
A machine shop.
My husband's.
And would you on occasion hire someone who wasn't born in America?
We had 6 illegal aliens working for us, and we did not know about it because when I-9'd everybody, they produced a green card and IDs, okay? You cannot tell, Marty.
Okay, I'm
You
not
can't
disagreeing
tell a
with
real
you.
one from a, we had 50 employees, we had 25 of them were not born in America.
Okay, so half
But
your
we had
workforce.
six of them that were illegal. The Social Security sent us a letter saying that we did not have a, you know, the same name attached to the number, so we had to let them go because we couldn't employ them.
But what if you could only employ people that were born in America? Would you have trouble filling I mean, you said you had 50 employees, 25 were born out of this country. If there was some sort of law or regulation, you can only hire someone that can produce a United States passport, would that be difficult?
In Connecticut?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it
because
would too.
Connecticut has a lot of taxes. It's a high cost of living, and children of, well, Ivan's children,
First generation
your
immigrants and
children
so forth?
are not going to be able to live, to buy a house and live here. They're
this
not
is
going to
sort
be
of-
able to
this
do
is
it.
sort
They
of-
can't afford it now.
Okay,
That's
this
right.
is my...
I mean, look at...
That's why we can't
Okay,
get
Felice, this is my
jobs.
point. This is my point. That these elite, you know, let's just say these immigrants are a vital part of our economy, for better or worse.
Can
You
I
have, no, let me
insist?
finish. You had a tool shop that, you know, over half your employees were from another country. I have, you know, I went online and went to the Connecticut Manufacturing Association, that they are turning away orders. These are high-paying manufacturing jobs, and they don't have enough people.
And I'll tell you another reason why. The schools in Connecticut, and especially in this area, only teach to students who are interested in going to college.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The
Trade schools and
Henry
so
Abbott
forth?
Tech does not even teach tool making. Do you know how much tool makers make?
They would-
$80,000, $90,000. That's
Absolutely.
not a cheap
But
job.
this is my point. What I'm saying
They're
is...
not teaching
I
it
know, but
anymore
what I
because-
would propose in this discussion is this new wave of immigration is an opportunity. Because I'll tell you what, those guys that are looking for jobs and so forth, if you say, I'm an employer, I'm willing to put you through a 6-month training program, if you have one of these temporary guest worker programs with internal enforcement, with border security and assimilation and deporting the known felons, I'm willing to pay for a 6-month training program for you to become a mechanic in a tool and die shop. They would be lining up at your door, providing a
Can I-
vital
can I say
resource to the
something here?
economy.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, good.
Yes, enforce our laws, but there's a bigger picture here. We can do this together.
Right. I agree with you. Oh yeah, we got phone calls, but we're good. I agree with you on one area where, like, you know, this city has become very, very expensive. Okay, but I don't think it's the illegal immigrants that are making it expensive. What I really think
no.
is because, think about it, right? You have a current mayor who's giving tax breaks to home developers. Okay.
They've
So
been doing that for years, Ivan. Come on.
for building houses.
Come on. Get real.
I understand, but guess what though?
This is a reality
The factory
show.
jobs. But I understand though. But why don't we attract businesses that will cater to, like you said?
There's too many taxes and regulations in Connecticut for businesses. They're moving out.
But-
We lost a lot
She
of
got
them.
that right.
Well, see, that is true. So how are we going to bring them back? First of all, it's
Get
too
the
expensive to
Democrats
live
up
here.
there in Hartford to renege on a lot of these laws that they passed, taxing companies out of existence.
She got that right.
But I think it's a... yeah, but we also have a Republican who is also the governor. So I think they need to work together. But I agree with you. You know, my kids probably won't be able to live in a Denver because taxes are, you know, are high. You can't buy a house around here. And definitely, unless you have like a PhD now, you're going to be competing against everybody and their mamas.
That's right. And
So-
every kid is not capable of going to college,
That
and
is
there's
correct.
nothing else for them.
Okay, yes, hello? Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to inform the gentleman on your television show that he needs to face reality about these illegal aliens.
You talking to me or you talking to...
I'm sure she's talking to me.
Yes, I'm talking to
Marty Heiser.
that they are not here to become citizens. They're not here to assimilate into our society. They want to behave like they do in their country. They want to be left alone for everything, for them to get just, they're only here to get the freebies and send the money home. They don't care about becoming citizens. You guys are fighting for them to become citizens, and they don't want to. And they're certainly not in the shadow.
Ma'am, how do you know that? Did you ask them?
Yes.
And they said they don't want to.
Yes, I did, and you can ask every single one of them. They would love to just be left alone, get all the freebies, and send the money home and leave when they want to. And that's what they want to do. They don't want to learn our language, learn our habits, and live like we do. Just walk up and down Main Street of Danbury, and he knows darn well that that's the truth.
Oh, thank you. You hung up on me. But let me say this, okay? I think that we could challenge that statement, because if the government allows them to apply for working permit and citizenship, they would have done that.
No,
but
no.
Real quick. We have to stop because we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will finish this conversation, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.